think we're on the positive side of things here. Alright, well, we made the last little change that was supposed to rectify this issue with the 1200s on the carburetors. We're going to go out and make a run and see if it made any difference. It seems peppier on the takeoff, more responsive. I hope that's just not me wanting it to be that way and it's the actual truth. But it seems like it's got more to it. Not as boggy. I think my choke is sticking a little bit. Ooh, that's the most I've felt out of it. Of course, it always does better at the low end in the first few gears. Whoa, hey, maybe we're on to something. It's just going to be a short trip back up and down the highway to the church, a couple miles away. Then I got to get back on my Victory. I miss it. I've been doing test rides on this and I miss my bike. Well, granted, this is my bike too, but this is not the one I'm used to. Feels like it has a little bit more going for it. Definitely better. It's not making that bog sound. It's not getting the get up and go I was expecting, but oh yeah. Pull the throttle all the way back, like right there. It doesn't do that big bog. That big whoa sound. And I'm already up to 77. Well, hot dog, I think we got something going here. Doesn't have that big kick in the pants that I would like. But yeah, it's moving now. Maybe another little partial turnout on the carbs, maybe. I don't know what this should be normally. I've not ridden other than this one, I've never ridden a Goldwing 1200. I don't know what its normal acceleration is. But that is definitely better. We're not getting that big when I open up the throttle and it just climbs gradually. Still not as much as I think it should be, but still a little bit of a bog, but much, much better. We may come out another half a turn or said 2 turns out on each carb now. So the recommendations were on that, on more than one article I've seen, that, but the known issue on the 1200s is I guess they were just too lean the way they were originally made from the factory. So the procedure was on the low idle jet, or the mixture jets or low idle jets, to go to 40 instead of a 35, and then shim the needles so that it makes it richer through the mid-range. and then do they were saying 2 to 3 turns out on the mixture screws, depending on where you lived. I'm not sure exactly which way that's supposed to go. If you're in a more humid, lower climate, that it's richer. I'm not sure which way that goes. I would imagine if you get higher altitude, you need more. It's going to lean out too much. You'd have to go richer. So in a lower, like us here, we're not that elevated. So I would think that we would not be as many turns. It's a lot peppier in the take up, that's for sure. I think we're on the right, so maybe 2 turns. Maybe we just need to do like another half turn, maybe. We'll give it a try. You have to take the lowers off to get to all that crap down there, which is a pain in the butt. But it's a heck of a lot better than pulling them off the bike. Missed second again. It's definitely got more pep right here. Oh yeah, it's better. Woohoo! Maybe when you open it high, when you're already doing 70 plus and you open it up, it just doesn't have that much more acceleration normally. I don't know. Again, I have no point of reference. Maybe if somebody watches my video that's ridden a 1200 before, can give me an idea. But it is definitely better than it was. So I think we may open it up another at least half turn, do 2.5 turns all the way around, give that a try. It is definitely performing better. I don't think it's just my imagination. Woohoo! Yeehaw! See, it just doesn't pick up as fast there as I think it should. But it's not bogging like it was. I think we're on the right direction here. That is fantastic. Much more responsive. Especially at the top end and the low end. I put almost 100 miles on this thing so far since I've had it. 94.9 miles. I didn't think I'd done that much, but now, what is this going to do to the gas mileage? No idea. I'm not sure how much I could depend on that gas gauge. We were out riding on the last drive and it got all the way down to 1 bar. I thought, oh crap, I'm going to run out of gas. We made it to a gas station. I could still see the gas from opening the cap, and I still, after I filled it up, I think this is a 6-gallon tank, maybe a little over a 6-gallon tank. So I think there was at least 2 gallons still in there. So when it drops like that, it may not necessarily indicate I'm using that much more gas, as the gauge is just a little freaky. So gonna have to do some calculations here after I feel like I get it run out. I think if you're getting somewhere around 40, it's supposed to be good. I had to do some more research. I think 35 to 37 would be a little low, but you know, maybe. I don't know. Whoa, I'm glad he decided. Well, we're here again on another trial. I've got the lower off and the piece that goes below the radiator off, because those came off of the parts bike over there, which as you can see is a different color. And I'm stripping the paint right now. I finally found what appears to be the right color. It's called Telstar Blue. PB142, I believe, is the code. And so I'm going to change that lower and that cross piece that goes under the radiator to the color of the blue bike. And then I think I'm eventually going to just work my way around part by part. This side cover's all scratched up. There's scratches here and there everywhere. We'll see how much patience I have for that. Getting the old paint off is a real pain. I can see why people that paint charge so much, because it just takes so long to get the paint off. And I've watched different videos on the stuff to use to get it off, etc., etc. And what I've been using is get that choke off there, is brake fluid, because brake fluid is notorious for stripping paint. It works really well, except there's a little crooks and crannies I'm still working on. And as you know, they always tell you you can't use anything but a fresh bottle, which I think is probably BS, because it's supposed to be hydrophobic, and you don't want water in your hydraulic fluid, which I can understand. So anybody that's ever done any of their own brakes ever, you've got probably half a dozen of these half to 2/3 bottles laying around. So I had plenty of it, and that's what I'm using, and it's working. I did seal up this leak on my right side in the exhaust. Still a very, very slight leak in there. It didn't get as quiet as I thought it would, but it's better. It's not near as chuggy as it was. But what I'm doing today is, last time I ran it, I was 2 1/4 turns out on each carb. Still seemed like there was a little bit on the top end that I needed. So since I was taking the lower off to paint it, I went ahead and thought, well, I'll just take the other lower off so I can get to the carbs, and I'll just turn them all another 1/4 turn. So we're at 2 1/2 turns now, which I think is going to be the guideline I'm going to use for the 1980. Try to get that running. I still got to pull the carbs off it, go through them again, because gas has been sitting in them for a month or so. Now granted, it's non-ethanol, so hopefully everything's fine, but I'll go through and check all that and run everything out to 2 1/2 turns on the mixture screws, because I had them at 1 1/4, because that's what the manual says they need to start at. They're a royal pain in the butt to try to adjust when they're on the bike. So anyway, we're going to do that. And there's, notice too, the last time I ran the 1100, that there's a couple leaks. I think I got O-rings going out on the left side, so I got to pull the carb out and do some disassembly and replace some O-rings, etc., and put it all back together, hopefully not causing any other leaks, and get that thing running. Once I do that, then I can figure out the brake issues. Still can't seem to get the front brakes to work. And if I can get all that done, then we're starting to put the bike back together and do some painting on it. I'm going to try to do the entire bike. I like the paint scheme that was already on it. It's just it needs to be refreshed, because there's paint missing. There's blemishes. I mean, it's pretty trashy. The bike sat outside for I don't know how many years at this guy's place before I bought it. And then the parts have been sitting outside at the guy I gave it to and then got it back from as well. So it needs a new paint job. So any hoot, we're going to run up to the church and back and see if that extra 1/4 turn helped us out on the top end. And then I'm going to get back to cleaning that lower and getting the rest of the paint off of it. And then I got to find me some 800 grit sandpaper to get it nice and smooth so I can paint it. Primer's coming in next week. Ooh, all the way up to 3rd. Well, it still doesn't seem all that peppy at the top end. Maybe that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm climbing up to above 70 fairly easy. I can still feel like there's a little bit more pull, maybe. Maybe I'm just looking for something that's not there on the top end. It is a fairly heavy bike, and it's 1200. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to do anything more with the carbs, because it is running so much better than it was. Yeah, I've cleaned off my mirrors. I can actually see behind me. I think we'll probably leave it at 2 1/2. Not real peppy at the top end. Once you get above 5th gear, it does accelerate though. and it's accelerating better than it did. No real flat spots. It just doesn't seem to have much. I expected more, but it is better. So I guess we'll leave it at that for a while, see how that does. Well, I think I got the bike set where I want to be on the carburetors. I've gone to paint these lowers. I don't, obviously there's a lot I've yet to learn about painting. Some of the clear coat looks okay, some doesn't. I got some spatters in here, which I didn't expect. I just don't apparently have the skills, at least not yet, to do painting. I also figured out you got to quit trying to scrape the paint off. It leaves scratches, whereas if you don't use Bondo or something, it shows later. So anyway, this ought to be a lot closer in color to the bike than the previous color. Let's see. That's pretty close. I think it'll look a lot better. The original color was like I had on the bike over here. I took the panel off over here because the original on the blue bike was broken, and it was this color. If you can see it, you know, not just the dirt, but that color. That's the original color. So I had to strip all that and come up with this. I think the bike had been down on the left side because I did find some stuff broken on the left side. So this is it. Obviously I have a lot to learn about painting, and I still don't understand where some of these blemishes come from when I hit it with the paint. But at least this one will be a fairly close match, and I don't think I'm gonna, I had originally talked about taking off each part and going over and fully redoing it in the paint job, but that's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna go fix all these nicks. Most of these nicks look like for some rocks or somebody hitting it with something, scratching it. Almost all of them still have the primer underneath them. So I'm just think I'm going to go around and touch those up and maybe see if I can buff this thing a little bit, try to bring out the shine. But I don't think I have the ability or patience or the budget to try to repaint each one of these pieces. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I got the carbs dialed in where I want them. Bike runs fine now. I still need to do some touch-ups. I did order a new windshield. I can't find anything that's not acrylic. I tried to find polycarbonate, but they're all acrylic. But at least we'll be able to see through it better. I'm looking at trying to repair this. It's, I don't know, they get pretty expensive, but I'm trying to find just the cover. I think the foam underneath is okay, but try to fix that and try to fix these armrests, at least that side. And I think that's it, other than getting the back brake figured out. It's still really anemic, so it needs work. Probably have to rebuild the caliper. But then I think I'm done on Project Blue Bike.